the Buffalo Bills absolutely cook the Dallas Cowboys and move to 8-6 on the season. And the Sabres take down Jack Eichel and the reigning Stanley Cup champion Vegas Golden Knights in an exciting game. All this and more on this edition of the Buffalonian Podcast. All right, let's go. We are back with the Buffalonian Podcast. I'm Joe Callia, and as always, I'm joined by none other than Dom Loss. And Dom, we got a lot to talk about today, a lot of good things to talk about for the Bills. They mounted a huge game against the Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott, it was a great game. Initial feelings, we normally don't do a pod the Monday after.
I know.
This is very fresh. I don't know. What do you think?
It is very fresh. I just say one thing. What is the sticker on the back of your computer?
It says it's table breaking season. And honestly, as soon as I put that on, lost to the Broncos. Ken Dorsey gets fired. So I was like, this is bad juju. This needs to come off. But now it's turned around a little bit. So I'm leaving it on. It's table breaking.
I got distracted by the
big red sticker.
The big, I was like, there you go. Sorry, it's table, and I couldn't read the. I was like, it's probably a Bills one, so I could probably say. But yeah, yeah. I mean,
they came with all these nice posters, by the way.
I know. What a game for the boys. Not for the other team's boys, but our boys.
Yeah.
The right team's boys. Yeah, I mean, the Bills really didn't get much help in the 1 o'clock window, so it was kind of like, this is kind of a depressing day to begin with. But, hey, I don't care that those other teams won as long as my Bills win. And, hey, as the producer said, it was a pretty stress-free game for the most part, especially in the second half.
Yeah.
Which is, I guess, if you watched the game, it wasn't surprising. But, like, going into the game, I think both you and I had the mindset that this was going to be a close kind of up and down kind of not really a slugfest, but kind of like two MVP level quarterbacks throwing the ball across the yard, and I mean they combined for under 250 yards combined between the two of them or something like that. So
yeah,
that's just crazy to think about. But
no, yeah, the rainy game. I mean, people expected it maybe not to be a throwing duel. They didn't quite expect what happened with the Bills though. So without further ado, let's roll the film. Let's roll the highlights. Let's kick it right off here with tape. Right up the middle. This offensive line, outstanding. Creates the amoeba around Latavius Murray, pushes him into the end zone after being stalled out, and for the touchdown. I mean, that's one point I know we're going to stress today, so I'm not going to hammer it too hard right now, but the offensive line, as I mentioned last week, it's the colony of ants. It's the B-ball. They're just surrounding whoever's got the ball, and they're just pushing them all the way through. Throughout the game, I think we saw Michael Orr on the field with Deion Dawkins at one point, just shoving him all the way down. So, I mean, come on. I love it. So now, next highlight here, we'll get another scoring highlight. Josh Allen takes the snap, rolling out to the right. He throws a little low pass to James Cook. James Cook makes the catch. Would you look at that? Just pure running backs being involved in the passing game, pure Joe Brady offense. That's the only passing touchdown Josh Allen would throw.
The only passing touchdown the entire game.
Only passing touchdown the entire game. Allen, to quote him, he felt like the kid who did nothing on the class project and still got an A. So we're going to see more of that here with this next highlight. Again, Josh Allen in the Bills edition of the tush push gets right through. There's nothing like it. Puts the Bills up 20-3 at that point. Tyler Bassett's extra point would be good to make it 21-3. And listen, with that first half rushing touchdown, Josh Allen surpassed Cam Newton for the most rushing touchdowns among NFL quarterbacks in a player's first 6 seasons. That's his 10th straight game with at least one passing and rushing touchdown. And that guy, since he's sat on the field, I feel like I'm effing back. He's been back. He's been the guy. Except we're going to see the guy in this next play, the real guy. We've already seen him. James Cook takes it into his own hands again, all the way to the end zone, rumbles, stumbles, does his flip again, Is that his signature move now? You think he's going to flip every time he gets an open into the end zone? But there we go. James Cook rushes in for the touchdown and really solidifies the Bills' lead there. And you can't ask for anything better than that. That was a James Cook masterclass. So without further ado, those are the highlights. I think before we talk more on James Cook, I say we hit the down 5. What do you think?
I agree.
Because I think we're going to hit him pretty hard in here.
I would hope so if we did the 7 right. Yeah. Let's hit it. Joe Brady, head coach material. We talked about, Brian Dable became a head coach. We all thought Ken Dorsey was going to, kind of with Josh, it's usually pretty easy for an offensive coordinator with an elite quarterback duo to kind of get a head coaching job for the most part. Obviously, Bieniemy had to leave Mahomes. That was kind of a weird situation though, but mostly with defensive coaches, head coaches, I should say, the OCs kind of get poached at a pretty high rate.
Yeah.
So
Dable.
I would not be shocked if we saw Joe Brady get a head coaching interview. I don't think he's going to be a head coach. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be surprised if he got at least one interview.
Right, but he would be in consideration, you're saying. Yeah.
Especially with the amount of jobs that I think are going to be available. And we know the Chargers just fired Staley. The Panthers are on an interim. The Raiders, but I think the Raiders may keep them. The Bears, who just lost a heart-wrenching game.
Yeah, that was rough. Literally had the Hail Mary, too, but we're not going to go into that.
The Patriots, maybe the Jets. Maybe the Steelers move on. So there's a lot of could be 7 to 8 jobs. 25% of the league could potentially have a job opening.
Maybe the Patriots.
So yeah, as I
depending on what happens there.
Washington, forgot about them. They're probably going to move on as well.
The Commanders, yeah.
That's what you're doing with the C.
Yeah. Producer's throwing us a C back there. We're like the Bears, like
yeah. I was thinking like Cleveland, but I was like Cleveland, Cincinnati. No, you could have just done a W, my boy.
Mm-hmm.
No, probably even
Washington.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think
he's got a chance to be interviewed for sure.
I think he'll at least get interviewed if all those jobs come available. Again, not that I think he'll become a head coach because I think it's be a little bit too small of a sample size, but he has the pedigree of, the LSU run with Burrow, now with Allen, so he's made 2 quarterbacks look very elite.
Yes.
Obviously, the Panthers experience, I think that can kind of get a little bit washed away because the Panthers now just look like a complete tire fire. So
yeah, you can't really. That was a weird experience for him too. So
yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, I think that's the only way to put it at that point. But.
Yeah, so I think there's a potential where Joe Brady gets in an interview or 2 for a head coaching position. But I would not bet that he becomes head coach. But no. I think down the road for sure, I think he will be.
If he continues to do what he's doing now with this team, yes.
Yeah, for sure. All right, number 2. McDermott's defense smothers the quote-unquote MVP. Just a dominant performance for this defense. They were really good the first 4 weeks of the year. Then the middle portion of the year, they were literally one of the worst defenses in the entire league. And these last 4 weeks, they've been really dominant. I know they played the Jets in one of those games, but they were pretty good in Philadelphia. I know the second half is really unfortunate, but they had a good half there. They played well against the Chiefs, got stops in the second half, and
they did.
This game, dominant doesn't even begin to describe. It was just we talk about smash mouth football. They just kicked the crap out of the Dallas offense.
Yeah.
For 4 quarters. It's unfortunate that they got that touchdown to make it look a little prettier, but.
That's like that Ron Rivera field goal when the Bills just demolished the
team.
It's like that pity,
that. The pity points. But it's a situation too where it's like the Bills also defensively, had a lot of plays that almost were made for interceptions. Benford, Poyer,
they were mongers out there.
Phillips had one hit him dead square in the chest. Going to go on the jug machine after that one, but just a dominant game, and it was a little frustrating at first. I think with the 2 unnecessary roughness penalties by Rapp and Dotson. I know Rapp's was Zach Martin pushed him over, so it was offsetting.
Yeah,
but. Sometimes while those are unfortunate, it kind of set the tone of the game of physicality, and the Bills really did do a good job of matching Dallas's physicality and making Dak have to throw the ball, and he just looked uncomfortable all day in the pocket.
He did. He didn't have a comfortable snap, it looked like, especially with Martin coming out of the game. Mm-hmm. Not Martin. What is that Martin?
Yeah.
Coming out of the game. After that pocket was exposed. It was like there was a pile of Parmesan cheese, as I like to say, instead of Swiss cheese. But no, that's a quote-unquote contender, right? That's what they've been tossed around as the national media, through the national media. And the Bills literally just stomped on them. I think that's the best way to put it. I don't know, just
uncompetitive, a very uncompetitive game.
It was, but as the producer alluded to, it was nice because we were joking. I mean, James Cook dropped that one touchdown, right? And McDermott, we made the joke, "Oh, you're benched for the entire fourth quarter now." Like we were.
He kind of did get benched for the entire.
He kind of did, but like it's because they were up 31-3 at that point.
Yeah.
So it was just like, Kyle Allen goes out. I'm like, okay, the starters are done. Diggs is done.
That's another thing I think always gets. I think lost in translation is not the right word, but
the fantasy owners.
But the Bills were up 31-3 for the entire fourth quarter, pretty much 12 and a half minutes, and they didn't score again. So it could have been worse if they kept their starters in. So I think that's another thing that's really exciting to see. But
very exciting.
On number 3, this is I think
the big one.
This is the big one, I think. Yeah. I mean, literally breaking news. Literally breaking news on the Buffalo podcast. James becomes a Michelin star chef.
Yes.
Breaking news. 25 carries, 179 yards, and a tutty. Had 2 grabs for 40 yards and another tutty. Just a big-time game for the lad. 7.2 yards a carry. I mean, Lily just dunked on them. Had two catches for 42 yards today. Had a nice 24-yard catch and run, and then obviously had that nice cooked at linebacker on that route for the nice little 18-yard touchdown. But I think the biggest thing is, honestly, he had over 200 total scrimmage yards. First time since I believe Thurman Thomas, the running back, has done that. So
221 total
probably
yards.
the most dominant running back performance we've seen from. I know we saw Shady kind of in his prime-ish, kind of in the back.
The back end. Yeah, but he was still very effective in the run game.
Yeah, but him becoming a star is important. It's just another thing for defenses to focus on. Again, it's a situation now where I'm hopeful the next 3 weeks this offense kind of figures out maybe a little bit more in the passing game to get Diggs and like all those guys kind of hitting the passing game with Cook, like keeping Cook, Allen, both those guys, but getting all the other pass catchers to get to their level.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the goal for me for the next 3 weeks. But I will say this, and I think Sean McDermott loves this, is that our man James Cook, as you alluded to earlier, did drop a touchdown. There's more meat on the bone to pick. Like he could have had as Mooch as a fantasy owner would know. I could have had another 7.5 fantasy points. Like that was a 5-yard touchdown. Beautiful play design, drops it.
Yeah.
And it's a situation where it's like you get those chicken wings, the flats, and there's a little bit of meat in the middle. You gotta break the bones. That's what James Cook needs to start doing, breaking the bones, getting a little. That was then he could be a multiple Michelin star chef.
Yes, yeah, he'll be at Gordon Ramsay's level. Would you say? So also for James Cook, before the first half is over, he had over 100.
There's questions though if he's gonna go. Like he's been invited to MasterChef.
Oh, And I hear Dak's going to MasterChef Junior because that's where he can only So all right, anyway, so Cook had over 100 total yards before the first half, or in the first half. He's the first Bill since LaShawn McCoy in 2016 to have 5 consecutive games with over 100 scrimmage yards. So this guy, I mean, has just really put it together. Again, the cook has found the kitchen. I was saying that last week. He's a Michelin star chef now.
Yes, to him.
He's going to be in the Ratatouille sequel we hear cooking up in the kitchen. So this will be this is the beginning to a very dominant James Cook career, and we're watching it blossom, which is outstanding right now.
Also, I mean, two games in 3 weeks that he dropped a touchdown. I mean,
to nitpick,
it's not even criticizing him. Really, it's more of like this dude's playing on such a high level that it's scary to think that there's another level for him to hit.
Right, for him to grow, and honestly. Did it matter he dropped that touch? I mean, the Philly one, you can argue.
Yeah.
But this one, you're like, they were already up 33-3, like 31-3. Why? I keep wanting to say 33, 31-3. And so what does it matter at that point? But whatever. I mean, it's just, it's whatever. That's how this one feels. But the other one was like, okay, that could have been a game changer.
It is what it is. But number 4, please, sire. Floyd hits the $1 million jackpot. 10 sacks. It was first time. I gotta look this up in his career. I don't know if this is the first time in his career. I don't want to be wrong, but I think he had multiple seasons in a row of 9 sacks, and I think that's a situation where I'm trying to think in sports. What's a good example? Jack Hughes last year for the Devils.
Yeah,
scored 99 points.
Oh,
Like
you hit the peak, but you didn't go over the top.
Yeah.
Like,
I think that would crush me. It's like, oh my god, I was a point away from where like playing in your mind. He now has 10.5 sacks for the boy, for the lad Leonard.
Pay that man his
He did have 10.5 sacks once in his career before that, so he's now tied a career high in sacks. So one more half sack, or I guess we want full sacks here. We're greedy. Yes, but he's
good to be greedy though in this situation.
Yeah, 4 straight seasons with 9+ sacks now for the young man. Everything that the Bills hope for and more. He now has 39.5 sacks in the last 4 seasons. So after kind of having not a great start to his career in Chicago, really kind of bounced back with the Rams, and now he's having a good career at the Bills. And he's now 31, so he kind of has, maybe a little bit left where he can get another big contract. Hopefully now, because I hope that he stays in Buffalo. But big game for him and the whole D line, especially without Epinesa. Phillips gets a sack. I think
he almost embraced his inner Epinesa too at that pick, but couldn't do it. Unfortunately,
AJ's got to teach him a thing or two about tucking the football and catching it.
Maybe not hopping when it's at your chest and now it's in your belly. But I don't know. It overall though, that's a guy, Leonard Floyd, you brought in. Okay, our star pass rusher is out with an ACL tear, right? He who shall not be named. And you're thinking, okay, we got to bring in a serviceable backup who we can keep on for the rest of the season when he's healthy. And Leonard Floyd, like you said, he's had a great career so far, right? He's really picked it up, over 9 sacks. This guy has been above and beyond what anyone expected him to really be doing here. He's been a dominant part in this defense, and as I said, pay that man his money. He's got to stick around here as much as much as he can. Stick around here because
we'll see.
Yeah, the cap hell is going to be interesting in the offseason.
Worst comes to worst, we get a nice little comp pick for the boy. But he's having a great year, and 10 sacks is 10 sacks. That's a number that every D lineman wants to hit. Going into the season, for him to hit that is incredibly impressive. But as you alluded to, kind of was a guy that we're like, okay, like when Von comes back, he'll kind of be the number 3, but. Even when Von struggles, it's kind of, like, okay, like Von's struggling, but we still have Leonard Floyd, we still have Groot, and now we have, hopefully we get AJ back soon. But on to number 5 of the Dom 5. Must take care of business. Listen, the next 2 weeks are, not the most difficult games that you could imagine. Listen, we said going into at least the last 3 games, Philly, Kansas City, Dallas, like you got to go 2-1. And they took care of business the home game. They took care of the business of the AFC game. So it couldn't have been obviously you would have said would have won 3-0. They really could have won 3-0. But
I think that Philly game set them right, though.
They took care of their business the last 3 games, the rough stretch. And now it's like, hey, like you guys still need to
go hot, stay hot. Do what you do best and beat up on bad teams. Don't play down to the opponent.
I just take care of business the next 2 weeks, and then let's go into Miami and think, like, what do we need to do? Again, it's going to be a fascinating end of the season.
Yeah.
But the Bills control – they don't control their destiny, quote-unquote, because if they win out, there's one scenario, I think, where they get left out, but that's not going to happen. So, listen, the Bills just got to beat the Bills, but it's nice to see that they didn't rely on Josh Allen at all this game.
Nope.
The tight ends didn't have a single catch. The wide receivers, only one wide receiver caught a ball, and Stephon Diggs. The other 3 receptions were to running backs. Obviously, Allen's stat line's a little misleading because the 7-15 really had Diggs had a catchable ball.
Kincaid had a
Davis
couple.
could have made it. Kincaid had one. Obviously, Cook dropped a touchdown, so he probably could have easily went 11-15 for whatever yards and 2 touchdowns. So.
Yeah.
But again, they didn't need him to have that. And also, all the records he's breaking on the ground. I think it's his first career 10 touchdown rushing season for the young man. So congrats to him. And also, it stops the turnover streak, so we can stop talking about that crap.
Yeah. I mean, here the thing is, it's just the fellas are rolling right now. And yes, the Chargers are in an interesting situation. They're without Herbert. Broke his index finger. That's a tough one to come back from. And, we'll talk about this more later in the week. It's going to be interesting how that game's played, but they can't lose to the Patriots again. Like, you already lost to them once this season, and they were the first team eliminated. So, you can't be doing that again. And then I This week, while I'm working, I will go back and find the clip of you saying Week 18 is going to be the week. The AFC East is going to come down to Week 18. It's going to be flexed to prime time because it's still TBD, right? Technically,
yeah. We won't know until the end of the Week 17 games. But Allen, just before we head to the question of the day, Allen on DraftKings went from 18-1 to 14-1 to win the MVP.
And my cash out options for the Bills winning the AFC East continue to grow because it's becoming higher and higher probabilities.
Brock's. Yeah, it's like 60% Dolphins, 40% Bills, and then the Bills obviously have over a 50% chance now of making the playoffs. I think it's 53%.
Yep,
if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so. I believe
something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it was a good week for not a great week for the out of town results, but out of town scoreboard, I should say. But the in town scoreboard was nice to the Bills, and looking forward to a clean, healthy week of practice, and then obviously they play Saturday, so it's kind of a weird kind of thing of college football. But on to the question of the day.
Oh boy.
Has Joe Brady earned the offensive coordinator job in 2024? I think that's a resounding yes.
I would say so. And
the only thing they have to do is, someone made a good point of it, they can't, I believe there's rules where they can't take the interim tag off him without the Rooney rule, so they'd have to interview a minority. So that's why we had to wait for the offseason. So, again, it's kind of always how I thought, is that I wouldn't be surprised if they interview a couple people just to say they interviewed a couple people, but also they're going to interview a couple people just to say that they interviewed a couple people, but really it's Joe Brady's job. It's kind of like what happened with Ken Dorsey a little bit when it was his. I know now we're looking back on that might not have been the smartest idea, but
hindsight's 2020.
Hindsight is 2020. That's correct. But
I think that a like to you is a resounding yes. In just a few games, he has proven. Like you said, they didn't rely on Josh Allen at all last night. Really, it was James Cook's night. The running backs were more involved than they've been in multiple seasons in the passing and running game. It seems the team morale has changed so much since this has been opened up with Joe Brady, and they also like to hire from within. Like that's kind of the whole thing with the Bills and the Sabres. So I don't see why not. Like you said, though, they'll probably interview a couple to satisfy the Rooney Rule, but I would say Joe Brady is the offensive coordinator.
It's also a situation where the Bills were gashing them on the ground, and even being an armchair offensive coordinator, like I was waiting for them to be, okay, here we go. We're going to do a play action. We're going to hit a freaking post to Gabe Davis streaking down the field. Never called it, and he didn't need to call it. It was just a situation of an offensive coordinator knowing, just spamming the same plays over and over and being like,
asserted his dominance.
Either you stop me, you got to stop me before I change. And so many times I feel like, especially being an armchair GM or like just regular offensive coordinator, or just regular offensive coordinator, it's kind of like, okay, they're going to think we're going to do this, and now we're going to switch it up, even though we're having so much success, and get away from that. I think they did a really good job of, hey, like, we have Josh Allen, but like, we are just pounding these dudes' faces in the dirt. Like we're just going to keep rolling until we can't. So just a masterful day against. They were the Cowboys' run defense was 6th in DVOA before the game, and now they're 16th. So that's a dominating effort for the lads.
Yeah, that's there's nothing more to say than absolutely just dominant. Like just went to town and got the job done. With guys down, too, like you said, Epinesa, this defense that's been called third string, practice squad, right, strung together by duct tape in some incidences, is out there proving week after week. Even when Dorsey was the offensive coordinator, minus the 12 men on the field, they've been proving that they can still hang around in games and keep these games close. So that tribute to McDermott as a defensive coordinator and the defensive players' next man up mentality. They've just been continuing to go, and now Joe Brady took that offense over, and the offense is go. So the whole team is go, minus special teams, I think. But Sam Martin, that'll be interesting to see what happens there. But
you want to be peaking at the right time, and it is clear that the Bills are currently peaking right now in December, which. Obviously, but there's still room to grow. So it's like kind of they're peaking, but there's like another step for them to hit. So very exciting. And talk about the fun team. Now let's talk about maybe not maybe. Also just quick congrats to the Bandits for having their banner. We're just avoiding talking about the Sabres.
Well, they lost their first game, which was away, and then they won the second game.
They did win against. Yep, and listen, they're 1-1, whatever. It's nice for them. The ring looks cool.
It does. The flag, the banners too went up.
So credit to them and cool. I mean, they're cool. I mean,
thank you for being a sports team in Buffalo that actually brings home a championship.
Thank you for being a friend.
Yeah. There we go. That's a little wrap up.
You got any Bison's news that we could hit? No.
No, I don't. I haven't heard anything from anybody, unfortunately. But except the rumors that the stadium could be turned into an MLB stadium. And
the 30-year-old rumors.
Yeah, the 30-year-old rumor.
We've avoided this enough.
Only good stat about this team we're going to talk about was in the intro. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I know.
One of the only good ones.
I know. At least we beat Jack.
Yes.
But, gosh dang it. Here we go again.
Yep.
Let's just roll into the... I'm not even doing a free...
we don't want to recap.
Yeah. All right. Consistently inconsistent. Mm-hmm. They are a consistent team. They are. They are consistently inconsistent. There's no other end. Like, their longest winning streak of the season is 2 games. They are now, 2-9, 2 after a win or some ridiculous stat. It's embarrassing. I gotta say, it's absolutely embarrassing. Mm-hmm. I don't care that you are on a back-to-back. You're in Arizona. I know Arizona is an improved team. Like, it's not Arizona of years previous where they're just god-awful and, they show your belly. But,
you won 5-2 5 days
ago.
But,
come on, man. What are we doing here?
Yeah.
They start off games so poorly, and it's really ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even know where to begin with this team. I just don't even know where to begin because the goaltending, you thought you kind of figured out UPL. Now he's sick, and now he's coming back, and he's kind of playing like crap.
Yeah.
They didn't lose against Arizona because of UPL, other than that turnover was awful. But,
mm-hmm.
He's played bad since he's come back. Comrie, we all know, since he's come back from injury, has played awful. Levi, thank God for him. He's played well since coming back from Rochester.
Yes.
Now we're in the boat of okay, I guess it's Levi's not now. UPL lost it. And it's okay, thank you. I'm so happy I didn't sign the apology form a couple weeks ago. It's all right.
Like everyone was sending out.
Yeah, it's dude, what is the one thing this dude lacks? Consistency.
Levi put the Eagle hat on, and he's been a different guy ever since. That's all I'm saying.
So they're just, everyone's just so inconsistent. It's just absolutely, it's just mind-boggling. I know they're a young team, and you can took some of it, but for the fact that their longest winning streak is 2 games, we're 32 games in the year. We're almost halfway through.
Yeah,
it's so frustrating. But on to number 2, thank you. What happened to this offense? I don't understand. This is a top 3 offense in hockey, and now they're a bottom 5.
Yeah, it's just it's really pitiful at the end of the day. It truly is. I don't know. When we went, Dom and I have been to games. We've been to the games with the producer and statistician Ginge as well. It's just, I don't know. I've wanted to leave in the third period, and I haven't in the past 2 seasons as this team's built and built and built. Since the soccer coach got on out of here, I feel like it's just been building up and getting better. But yikes! They went from being the most exciting offense to watch in hockey to one of the I don't even want to stay at the games and experience it. You know what I mean? I don't get it. I don't.
Cousins has 1 goal in his last 12 games.
Yeah.
Thompson has 1 goal in his last 11. Those 2 have combined for 12 goals. I think during this point last year, it was 27 goals or even more that they've combined for. So they're just not getting production really from those guys.
Yeah.
It's the offense is. I just feel like they focus so much on defense and we gotta play this way for the playoffs, and it's just their total offense is completely neutered. And it's what is they were one of the most dangerous teams. They were, maybe you could make a case for being the most dangerous team in hockey off the rush, and now they're one of the worst.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, but I hate when it's I'm not gonna call out the person from the Buffalo News who said this, but it's after the Vegas game, it was see, it's on the players. No, dude, we're gonna say it's not everyone saying it's the effort of the players or whatever. That's just not true. I'm sorry, that's such a that is such a cop out to be the players are not playing with effort, dude.
You could have said that about the Bills' offense for weeks. You know what I mean?
I'm sorry. Also, if they're not playing with effort, 32 games in the year, that also was on coaching.
Yes.
I'm sorry, this whole mess is a coaching issue.
It is.
They can't get the power play going. They're one of the worst teams in the entire league on the power play. It has cost them so many games because it's not like they have an elite penalty kill, so they're just getting killed on special teams.
Yeah.
their offense has been completely neutered, and these dudes just don't look like they're having fun. Like, I'm sorry, but like at the end of the day, this is a coaching issue. He's not putting his best players in positions to succeed. His best players aren't playing well, and it's 30 games into the year.
That's the thing.
And
30 games into the year.
He keeps going back to these same defensive pairs. Yep. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Clearly not working.
Dahlin and Samuelsson. Dahlin is significantly better away from Samuelsson, and Samuelsson is even worse away from Dahlin. He's actually a little bit better. Like, please stop playing those two guys together. Play Yogi Giroux actually had a good year. Play him with Dahlin. Play Samuelsson or Power, or play Johnson Power. That was a nice little pair too. But yeah, the coach cannot get out of his own way. The defense of the coach is maddening to me. I mean, I don't know how you could defend them. I mean,
no.
This is supposed to be a team that we all expected to have this massive jump, and they've regressed, and a bunch of their core players have regressed. I know it's a little bit, some people are a little bit banged up and whatever, but their core players have regressed. I'm not saying this is a perfect roster, but they are underachieving in my mind. Like, there's a team at minimum should be an 85-point team, and they're on pace for far below that. I think they're on pace for like 75. Like, I'm sorry,
not getting to the playoffs.
We could debate the roster all we want about how they added Clifton and all that. I'm sorry, but they're still massively underachieving. With all that being said, so.
I mean, you're looking basically when you look at the Sabres logo, it should just say insanity on it, because this team is the definition of insanity with their coaching. You're doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
It's ridiculous.
It just does not resonate with anybody
It's
here.
Really shameful for the fans that we're going through all this, and they won't fire. I mean, they won't fire him during the season. We're going to get Matt Ellis.
Right.
Matt Ellis is going to help the squad. Yeah, him and his 32nd ranked power play. It's just ridiculous. But on number 3 thing.
Yeah, and they've already tried the reverse Ted Lasso, bringing in a soccer coach. So
can't do that one.
No,
that one's off the board. Oi, Benson. As anyone who might be a regular show fan,
you've ever seen it?
Yeah, look up some clips. Benson, Zach Benson, now 10 points in 22 games. Scored his 4th goal of the year. Made another big time play to Alex Tuch. For basically the Daga in Vegas. I love them. Can you put that back up, actually, producer?
Yeah. Basically, in Jack Eichel's face.
What an image.
Yeah, wearing the number 9 sweater Eichel used to wear and just spitting in his face. Oi, Benson. So.
Yeah, so Lily, probably one of the few bright spots is Benson, Ryan Johnson, and I guess now Levi, you could say, is a bright spot because how he's played. So
all the young guys. That's basically it.
And also I guess the Eric Robinson trade, because that guy hasn't been got off. Actually, guys, that dude actually helped a little bit.
He's been decent.
Yeah. So, but focusing a little bit more on Benson, just plays an adult game as an 18-year-old. Thank God he's 5'8" or 5'9", because if not, he probably would have went top 5. So, listen, I give Adams a lot of crap, and rightfully so. But hitting on that pick and then keeping him instead of not sending him back down to juniors after his 9 games, not sending him to the World Juniors, even though Canada's begging for him to join the squad.
Yes, they are.
Is really impressive, and it's more of a situation. This guy, he does all the little things well. It's just he's the one thing. Constant things for him to improve on is just like the penalties. He just does a lot of
He's a physical player.
A lot of stick infraction penalties that you could work on, but he's so good defensively, and the points are coming. So. Really proud of the lad. But
yeah, I mean that's one thing to be proud of, and it's one of few things to be proud of. I feel like at this point, as a Sabres fan, So
unfortunately,
this is why people just don't watch the Sabres. That's all I'm saying right now. Like this is why people just turn off the TV or don't go to the. It's why the 50-50 only gets to $8,000 because no one's there. So it's just like.
I mean, they want us to again sarcastically cheer, boys.
Sarcastically cheer.
But on to the question of the day for the Buffalo Sabres.
Here we go.
I kind of jumped the gun a little bit on this one. Is Don Granato the head coach in 2020? No. Willie, yes. I mean, I just I think this is shades of McDermott, except this guy, I don't understand. McDermott
at least made it to the
playoffs. This is shades of McDermott, conversation from a couple weeks ago of I just don't think they're going to do it. But what has this dude done? I'm sorry, he seems like a nice dude, good head coach. He's
got the good culture going with developing the players.
Congrats for putting the culture together.
Yes.
Good assistant head coach, good coach for the time. But I'm sorry, but as my dad would say, this is not the dude for the next step. He's not. He's just not. He's not a good enough tactician to get the best out of his players.
Game time decisions are interesting,
and he's not getting. Yeah, he's just not getting the best out of his players. Yeah. And it's as simple as that. And I'm sorry, but we're not in I'm not in the mood to like babysit and be like, oh, he's done so. Like, congrats, dude. You had a 90+ point season. You missed the playoffs by 1 point. You were like underachieving massively this year. Like, I'm sorry,
to piggyback off
but
of
can we get a guy? Can we get a guy in the room that's going to play his best players, put them in positions to succeed? I'm sorry, I don't think they need a players coach. Like, I mean, everyone needs a players coach, but like this dude just seems like he's an ultimate players guy, and eventually you need a guy that's going to be maybe a little bit of a players coach, sure, but a guy that's actually going to give you
a bit of both.
Some tactician advantage, like Lindy. But
you think Mr. Ray's Saberhood? You think he'll
who?
Rob Ray. You know how he does the Mr. Rogers neighborhood stuff?
Oh.
Imagine he would just have everyone get in fights if he took over.
I just believe that for this team to get where they need to go, it's not going to be with Don Granato controlling, being Ratatouille with the Rat Man.
Yeah, he's a puppeteer.
Listen, what they really need to do is they need to get James Cook in there because he'll cook it up a nice little soup. Currently, Don Granato is burning the soup.
Yeah.
No, you know what? I'm sorry.
Donnie Meatballs is the worst meatball
Donnie
bomber
currently
I've ever
has. Donnie currently has like it's like that situation where it's like he doesn't have great products. Like he doesn't have great ingredients, but he has solid ingredients.
He does,
and he's turning solid ingredients. He's turning, but he's turning solid ingredients into dog shit.
He is, yes.
He is. Yeah. Like the GM didn't give him great ingredients to play with. He gave him solid ingredients. And you know what's great too? He also has a couple of, with his solid ingredients, he also has a couple elite ingredients.
He does.
He has Tage Thompson. He has Alex. Some elite ingredients.
You've got the elite ingredients and the spices to complement them.
He's making those elite ingredients mid.
Mm-hmm. He's burning.
And the solid ingredient, he's burning the elite ingredients and just feeding you a pile of dog.
You know how like the best steaks are like medium well, or not medium well, medium rare, medium well in that area. You got a little bit of pink in the middle. It's tender, juicy. This is a well done steak that's just
medium rare. That's like two different sides, dude.
Medium rare, medium, like in there. Like that's kind of where I like my steak. You know what I mean?
Medium rare is significantly better than medium well.
Well, yeah. I was just saying. I was giving the spectrum for the listeners out there, right? You want it in there. You don't want it either raw or well. Like, even though I know people who eat their steaks well done, it's just interesting to me. But you don't want that, and that's what you're getting. You're just getting a charred steak with Don Granato. You're not getting the potatoes, the rosemary, the little chives on top of the steak. You know what I mean? Like, you're not getting any of the... There's no plating. Gordon Ramsay would be disgusted.
No, but he's also forgetting the potatoes. It's like, I ordered potatoes. It's like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't know we could change the power play. Like, that's my bad. Like,
no, you're right. It's just...
Wait. So what you're saying is there's no NHL rule saying that we have to have 3 goalies? So I could talk to my GM about, like, not having 3 goalies? I'm just kind of like...
So what you're saying is... The offense doesn't have to play down to the defense.
So what you're saying is Matt Ellis, we could fire him and like we could improve?
Okay, wait. Can I add a tag-on question of the day?
Sure.
Okay.
Is Ratatouille elite? Yes.
Yes. That one of the best. Cars and Ratatouille, my 2 favorite Pixar movies. Might be a hot take on Cars, but I don't know.
Isn't Toy Story Pixar?
Toy Story. Oh yeah, I got to throw Toy Story in there too.
Come on now.
Yeah. So Toy Story, Ratatouille, Cars. Oh my God, they're all good.
Monsters Inc.
Monsters University. We can't talk about this. We're gonna go out on a tangent.
Yeah.
But, lost my train of thought. Second question of the day. Here we go.
Tag on.
When Don Granato leaves, does Kevin Adams stay? Because people are kind of split on that. You know what I mean? So you think he stays? I think he stays.
I think what the Sabres should do, if I was Terry, I did meet Terry in an elevator, so I should have given my thoughts.
Yeah, I saw Kevin Adams at the Thomas Rhett's concert. So
you should give him. If I was looking at the Sabres organization and saying what needs to change within the organization, I would say they should promote Adams to president of hockey ops. Either keep Karmanos as the GM or hire someone above Adams as the pres. I don't know how that would work. That'd be kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like kind of what the Flyers have Keith Jones, I think his name is, as the president with Danny Beer as a GM. I think they need a president of hockey ops. It could be Kevin Adams. It could be someone outside the organization.
Could promote him, yeah.
And I think they need to fire. I think, to answer your question, Don goes, Adams stays. 'Cause I think Adams has done enough where, okay, he's rebuilt the roster. He's rebuilt the cupboards. Do I think now he needs to learn the next step? Yes. Do I think he could take the next step? Sure. I'm confident right now that Kevin Adams. Now, if we go another offseason and he doesn't do anything, then I'm not. But I think he kind of gets he has like a year-long leash. Like, I don't think this year doesn't define, like, this year I think makes his seat hot. Like, yeah. But I think this seat hot, his cheeks may be getting a little warm. Don Granato's, he'll
that was like the McDermott analogy. The flame was lit,
but he'll stand. But Don Granado will stand up, and you'll just see his bare cheeks because the pants is like completely burned.
He's got assless chaps on at that point. Yeah.
So I think Don's out. If this season goes the way that it's going, I think Don should be out. I think Adams kind of gets one more kind of go around of like, hey, you got to improve the roster, and maybe we'll add some hockey ops, and you get to hire an actual coach outside the organization because he hasn't done that.
Yeah.
Don Granado was on Rev Kruger's staff, so maybe that's a thing for Adams to kind of like convince Terry to keep his job. But to answer your question, I think Adams stays. Granado would be out in that scenario.
No, I'd agree. I would say Adams sticks around, and he's done a decent job. He could have done more this past offseason for sure, like getting a goalie or things along those lines. But I mean, the keys are in place right now because of him in a lot of ways. So keeping Benson, like you said, great move. Like things along those lines. Like he's shown
he's drafted well.
Yes, he's shown he deserves to stick around at least for a couple more seasons. And if things really go out of control, then you move on. But if he gets another head coach or you promote him to hockey operations president, like that,
absolutely,
you keep him around. A culture guy for sure, Kevin Adams.
So
beat the Sabres in the Stanley Cup, by the way, too. So.
Yeah. So with the Sabres, they playing home against Columbus tomorrow, home against Toronto on Thursday, and then Saturday at 7:30 against the Rangers. I gotta tell you, they gotta move that game. I know it's in the Rangers, but no one's watching that game with the Bills being on at the exact same time. Yeah. No one's watching that game. Sorry. Tell the listeners out there, I will not be. I'll watch the highlights.
Who makes the schedules? Like I get it. It's not here, so that might be why they did that.
I don't know, but
yeah, TV ratings are gonna be low for whatever station that's on.
Yeah, and you know what? I think I'm gonna refrain from doing a player of the week because I feel like every time I do it, my player sucks, and I'll just say my player of the week with the squad. I think they get their first 3-game winning streak of the year. I think they go 3-0. I know we haven't really been predicting these. I didn't want to stop doing. I know we want to stop doing that because it's just kind of cliche because we're gonna like go. But
we're not. Yeah, we haven't.
But I think hopefully they listen to this podcast, gives them a nice kick in the rear. Levi starts the 3 games, gets the 3 dubs, and
we'll burn it onto a CD and put it in.
It would be a Merry Christmas for all. But
I'm kind of with you on that. I'm going to piggyback on you for the vibes. Get the squad their first 3-game win streak. We'll double down on it this week to really get it out there and going because, our players of the week normally just fall on their face when we say it. So
it's like a jinx.
Yeah, we're not going to do that this week. We're going to see if it makes a difference. Like the Buffalo Pepsi.
Christmas cheers. Christmas cheers.
Yeah, Christmas cheers. Yeah.
But with that being said, before we end the pod, I just want to say, good game to the producer, Mooch.
Fantasy.
I did take the dub. My team kind of crapped the bet on Sunday. Was projected to score 151 points going to Sunday. Only popped to 116 because I had my boy Dak.
Yeah.
But he kind of got some garbage time. Nice 7-point dub heading on. So off to the finals of 120 bucks on the line for your boy. So then in our league, I had a bye, so I did pop the highest score of the week.
He actually won in the bye week matchup too. Yeah, so he advances to the next round. So, I think I lost the consolation game in the punishment league. I'm 11-3 on the bye in one league right now, so we're hoping that continues into the playoffs. I got Allen, Pollard. Luckily, I didn't have to play them this week because that ended up working out pretty well on the bye. So we're gonna see what happens. I had Keenan Allen. I gotta figure that out, so we'll see what happens. But
afraid of the heel gods that he plays.
Oh yeah, we shall see. Even though the quarterback won't be Herbert.
Maybe you should talk to Achilles.
What?
You should talk to Achilles.
Yeah. I should. I go to UBMD to get mine checked out on the 16th of January, so I'll appeal for Keenan Allen and myself. So we'll double down on that. But without further ado, that's going to do it for this edition of the Buffalonian Podcast. I'm Joe Kelly. I was joined by Dom Loss, and thank you to our producer Mooch for everything you do before, during, and after the show. Much appreciated. Dom, how do you always end these, buddy?
Go Bills, baby.
Go Bills, Sabres, please do something.